Oh, really?
I just want to get the numbers right. All right, time to go after 5:30. We call this May 10th County Council meeting to order. We'll begin with an invocation by Councilman Young, followed by pledge of allegiance. All are able to stand.
Right. Oh God, we're grateful for this day to bless us with. Lord, we ask you for tomorrow. We don't promise tomorrow, but we ask you for it. Lord, we ask you to bless us with integrity and character as we try and do the right thing for the citizens of Lawrence County. Lord, we ask you to watch over our county. We ask you to watch over our state. We ask you to have your hand on have your blessings and your hand on our country. And we ask these things in the name of Christ Jesus. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome you all again to the meeting this evening. We'll start with a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Rankin, second by Ms. Clark. Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Next up, we have approval of minutes from the May 26th regular session and the April 19th committee as a whole. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Chairman, I move to approval by regular session. We have a hold on the 19th of April with the necessary correction that we made.
All right, a motion by Ms. Anderson. Second by Mr. Carey. Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes from April 26th and April 19th, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Are there any new council submissions for county boards, commissions, or committees? Hearing none, we'll move on to second reading of ordinance 919, Project Dogwood Reload. I'll call the county attorney for any updates on this.
No, this was on track, $17 million investment, 135 jobs. Looking forward to get finalized here in the next couple of weeks.
All right, you've heard the statement by the county attorney. Do I have a motion to approve on second reading ordinance 919?
Motion to approve ordinance 919, Project Dogwood Reload.
Motion by Mr. Carroll.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rankin. Is there any discussion? I think that's where this one's going.
That'll be in the spec building and club.
Wonderful. All right. If there's no other discussion, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving ordinance 919 on second reading, please raise your right hand. 7-0. And then next up, we have the Morris County Park agreement for that project. Everything on that.
This will enable them to basically have kind of like the Hunter Fund, the lots that trigger putting them in multi-county park, where it'll be a 25% split 4 ways. Looking forward to that. The children's been waiting on that for about 25 years. We're ready to rock and roll.
All right, do I have a motion to approve ordinance 920 on second reading, putting Project Dogwood in the multi-county park?
approve ordinance 9.
Motion by Mr. Carroll,
Second.
second by Mr. Trill. Is there any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving ordinance 920, please raise your right hand. 7-0. All right, next up, we have second reading on the general operation budget. Before we take that motion, I'd like to discuss a timeline for some budget workshops. First, I'd like to commend Mr. Higgs and Ms. Laura for all their hard work. They have spent a lot of time meeting with department heads and elected officials alike, get the budget set, and have done a really good job. I've said that on top, but they're the ones that put in the hard work this year, and I appreciate that. So we would like to set some workshops to go over what they have to present us. Next week is out, but anything after next week is open. We do need to meet by the 3rd of 10th, the 3rd of 10th of June. Publication, 3rd. So we'd like to have everything included by the 3rd, to publish the paper properly. Is there any suggestions, recommendations from council members on what days of the week work? Maybe I should do a Saturday or 2 that work really well. What's the consensus of the council?
Not next week, but what about the next council meeting?
Only big thing I know that's gonna be on that agenda is probably gonna be a look at the subdivision ordinance that's coming back up to us at that meeting. I know outside of that, it should be regular work and stuff like that.
See that, maybe working out to it on that night.
All right, you want me before or after? We can have a quick one. All right, we will schedule it for the 24th of May, the first one for the 24th of May, following the county council meeting. And we will agree at the beginning of that meeting how long we want to deliberate and set it up. How about that?
That sounds good.
Does that work for everybody? 24th after the county council meeting? That's that. That into the cut course. I very appreciate it. All right, so I will open the floor for second reading on ordinance 921, which is the general operation budget FY 22-23.
Want to do this one by title or by?
So I believe it, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but the numbers that are in here are what's from the current budget, right?
That is, the numbers you have in front of you are current. Yes.
Okay, these are the numbers from the current.
The only one that probably will tweak would be number section D. Which is the total budget. 13 million.
Oh, as we
Yeah,
adjust the budget,
that's the only number right now. Ms. Moore and I, staff, we've been through it, and the numbers are good to go. That one number, once y'all get through the workshop, may change up to that.
Okay.
Other than that, with the numbers you got are current for this year.
Just to let me ask the question, doesn't I?
But it's not a title.
I got that. After you put the numbers in, I got that. Okay.
we can't do a second reading title. We got the numbers.
You got the numbers. Yeah, what you have in front of you, you should vote. And that one number can change as it often does.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the second reading of ordinance 921, operation budget FY 22.
All right, got a motion by Mr. Carroll. I'll second it. Motion is second. Is there any discussion on the second reading of ordinance 921? All right, here now.
Okay. Our next meeting, how would that put our time frame in meeting the goal that we need to meet to have our open meeting and our third meeting? Give me some guidelines there.
Yes, we will stay on schedule to have the public hearing on June 14th. And third reading with the final numbers on June 28th. Which will be the last possible time we can do it without extending,
A special call.
without a special call.
We need to have that separate meeting tonight.
Yes, ma'am. We have to go to publication. Morning. Right.
Okay, Brian, let me have my way on you. You know I have something, but I'm okay, I guess.
Is there any other discussions? All right, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of second reading of ordinance 921, general operating budget FY 22-23, please raise your right. I'll count out some M&Ms beforehand. We normally don't. All right, in addition, we have second reading on the fire budget FY 22-23, ordinance 922.
Motion to approve.
By Mr. Rankin, second by Mr. Carey. Is there any discussion on the fire?
We have our submissions from the fire department, each of the fire departments now.
Yes, ma'am. We're waiting on 3 additional contracts to come in. We've communicated with the council members in those respective districts, and Director Lindley's done a great job working with the departments to gather those. So we anticipate all of those to come in by the day.
Deadline's 15th, right?
Yes, sir. 15.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the second reading on ordinance 922, fire budget for FY 22-23, please raise your right. Next up is the sales tax ordinance. Addresses, everybody knows we're legally allowed to keep 29% of that. We have in some years, last year, we elected to return all that to the taxpayer, and I believe this ordinance reflects the same this year.
That's correct.
Do I have a motion on ordinance 923 that addresses the lawsuits?
Second.
Carol, second by Mr. Rankin. Is there any discussion on ordinance 923?
This can be changed.
Yes, ma'am. Be adjusted as council needs, so when we get into that budget, we need to go up a little bit, we can definitely do that. I'll call the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Passes 7-0. Next, we'll move into new business. I'll call on the items out there on it. Mr. Avery.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, what you have before you tonight is a resolution to approve and adopt the hazard mitigation plan that we submitted to FEMA last year. It took quite a process to get it through the channels, but we do have, and we submitted this to Mr. Crookshanks, Mr. Higgs. We have the acceptance letter from FEMA. And all we need is a resolution that the county council adopts that mitigation plan. And then we will forward that on to the 2 cities for their adoption of it. And we will send all the resolutions to FEMA for their files. That will allow us to recoup any funds that may be available should we have some disaster through our county at any point in time.
Further recommendation from Mr. Avery. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2022-23C, adopting the Lawrence County Hazard Mitigation Plan?
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of resolution 223C.
Motion by Ms. Anderson, second by Mr. Carey. Discussions or questions from Mr. Avery? I just thank you for your hard work on getting that through. That's never a bad task, especially on the federal government. But I appreciate all your hard work to bring that to us. That being said, I'll call for a motion or a vote to approve resolution 2022-23. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. All right, you're up again.
And just for information, that will cover us for 5 years before we have to submit that plan. The next thing on the agenda is to accept the 2022 LMPG local emergency management performance grants from the state EMD. This is a formality that we do every year. We have to say that we want to take their money, we approve it, we send that information, and Mr. Higgs has some forms that he has to fill out. Renee will need to fill out some, and we'll submit it to the state. Then they will in turn send us an official award letter in the amount of $68,811.
Presentation from Avery. As always, we thank you for bringing us grant money, especially these larger dollars. Like I tell all department heads, bring us grant money is grab that check and run to the bank. Don't ask questions. So I have a motion to approve accepting the award of $68,811. Motion by Mr. Carroll, second by Ms. Clark. Is there any questions or discussions on this one? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, council.
Next two items on the agenda address the ARPA funds that we deliberated last meeting. The first one's a resolution adopting the list. That, and the second one's an ordinance that instructs staff to disperse the funds. So we'll start with the resolution 2022-26C. Do I have a motion to approve that?
Motion to approve resolution 2022-26C.
Motion by Mr. Carroll,
Second.
second by Mr. Rankin. Any discussion on that? I'm sorry, fellow council members again for that process. It was daunting and we accomplished it well, I believe, and did a great job. So with that being said, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving resolution 2022-26C, please raise your right hand. 7-0. That follow ordinance instruct staff to disperse those funds. So I have a motion to approve first reading of ordinance 924.
Motion to approve first reading ordinance 924. Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Rankin and a second by Mr. Carroll. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. That concludes our regular meeting. Next up is public comments. First up is Mr. Riddle. Got it right this time.
Can you hear me now? Thank you very much. I'm here just as a reminder. Last meeting I came and I had a list, and I'm sure you still have this, but it's an outline of the things that I spoke about last time. And just as a reminder, and the reason I'm bringing these things back is that when I brought these up, there were some positive comments. One from Mr. Rankin on town hall meetings, an occasional town hall meeting. I just want to remind you of that. I got a positive response, at least from one council member. And I hope that you folks will talk about that, come up with an occasional, maybe quarterly or biannual meeting, a time when we can all get together and the public can have some feedback one-on-one, more than just having comments is great. We like to, we appreciate the public appreciates the ability to do that, but we'd like to have a conversation, have one-on-one and get some feedback from you folks. So town hall meeting, okay? Another thing that we got some public, we got some positive response from the last month was the idea of posting or putting up signs up in District 1, especially, you know, when we've got the big subdivision that's coming in up there on Happy Valley Road in Durban. And I found out about it, you know, by driving by and seeing the excavators. We didn't have any signage out there. So we really would love to have some posting, putting up signs so that the public can have some input. Okay. So maybe a certain sign, maybe somebody can come up with a plan, a 18 by 24 or bigger, every 150 feet or so along the road would be great. So that we can have input. So posting, I just want to bring that back to you so that we can do something about that. It's we hear through the grapevine, there are other potential subdivisions that are going to be coming before the Planning Commission, and we don't have time to just sit around on our hands. So I respectfully request posting so that we can know, the folks in the area can be aware of it. Last meeting, I requested 180-day moratorium in District 1. And I brought you precedents on that for single district moratorium in Lexington County. The attorney, and I think this gentleman, we're going to come up with some sort of, some feedback to respond to that. As we had a little discussion, I think we talked to Kemp about that last month. So what'd you come up with? We're asking for a 180-day moratorium in District 1. Also, it's come to my attention that the Planning Commission and you folks too, I imagine, don't have any personal liability protection against lawsuits. Is that correct?
Or the county attorney on that.
What's your question?
My question is, does the Planning Commission or even the council members have protection?
Absolutely, yes, sir. Yeah, they're covered.
Okay, that's not what I've been told. But okay, I'm just asking the question.
Somebody told you wrong.
Okay.
We wouldn't be up here with that. I've been doing this for a long time. We have to.
Okay. It was actually your email, sir, that you're Mr. Tribble.
I am me.
Okay, I'll look back. Maybe I misunderstood your email. But there was concern from a particular Planning Commission member that they did not have personal protection.
Anyone who acts outside the scope of their job is not covered. You act within the scope of your position, you're covered.
Okay,
That's a simple explanation.
Okay.
It's a little deeper
Thank
than
you.
that.
thank you for that.
Yes.
That was a concern that I had, and that concern came from a Planning Commission member. We did exchange email, you and I, and I'll have to go back to your email to make sure that I did. And if I misunderstood your email, I apologize.
I think that being concerned about lawsuits in general, and having to defend yourself and the pain that it puts you through. I mean, I've seen in the hospital case where the whole board got sued. I was on the board at that time. That many of the people had to rearrange their personal assets just under the advice of their attorney to make them safer. But that doesn't, I never said required, sure.
Okay. Maybe it was the reference to that. But they're okay. All right. Well, again, I didn't just make that up. That concern came from a Planning Commission person. So that's good to know, because I don't want them to be afraid to vote their conscience, right? So because we got Planning Commission, the Planning Commission. Yeah, at the meeting, I've been told by a couple of them that as long as the developer checks the boxes and everything's legal, they feel obligated to vote yes, so they have to vote yes. I have others that feel like they can vote their conscience based on their knowledge of the infrastructure, density, and all that. So we got a variety of opinions up there, but one of them actually, said that he was concerned about being sued. So I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't a problem. So Okay, that clarifies that. But the planning commission's role is very important. So I just want to make sure that there was no problem with personal liability. But you guys you're all protected, right?
Yes. In the execution of our duties, yes.
Very good. Okay. So, but going back to my 3 points, the moratorium, the town hall meetings, and the sign postage, if you could give us a little help on that. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we have Ms. Garrison.
I'm just gonna be quick and brief tonight. I was just gonna make a statement that, of course, which Mr. Riddle didn't hear, that I think that the next meeting y'all are gonna have, y'all are gonna start talking about ordinances. So he wasn't here to hear that too. So that's a great thing for me to hear personally. So this will be kind of a good statement so that when this happens, then that it will help y'all make decisions because of adjoining property owners. So I'm just gonna make a few statements of things I've been documented that's been happening to our farm. And I think I've mentioned to you, Mr. Patterson, at the Ridge, when we were talking about that we'd had some calves getting out because we had nothing but forestry right beside us for years and years and years. And so now all that forestry has been stripped. So the trees along our line are not used to the wind and to the, to what it's being exposed to because of that. So we've had fence damage, had calves get out. Fortunately, we got them up, got our fence fixed and all that kind of stuff. We just had this weekend, a huge wild cherry tree come across our pipe fenced arena. Totally took out a whole section of our pipe fenced arena that had to be well back prepared that we will have to take care of. That it was a wild cherry tree. So the wilting leaves are highly toxic to horses. It will kill them. So we had to, bury off that portion of the pasture so they couldn't get to it, even though my husband immediately cleaned up the tree, put up so we're dealing with the issues of the ramifications of this already. And so when y'all come back and readdress these ordinances, when you look at these things, there is no doubt that, it's past now that we didn't know about the subdivision, but there's no doubt going forward that adjoining property owners need notification. The signage we've talked about and all that kind of stuff, but a letter needs to go to those adjoining property owners before it comes before the planning commission. A person needs to know what kind of destruction will be happening beside their property before it happens. And so that's just little things that we have already dealt with because of all the forestry gone, the land stripped, and it's just left that way. And I did have very good response from our DOT, but we had a large rain, and where the logging trucks went in, they totally changed the demographic of the road going in there. And when it rained, it flooded all, and I fortunately happened to be coming back from town that day and got a video of it, how bad it was. And when I talked to the DOT and sent him the video, he's like, "Oh wow, we'll get out there." They did, which was great. I'm glad they did. But the DOT's having to take care of it, not the developer or the logging company that changed the demographics of the road to cause that flooding, because that was never there prior to that. Mr. Burke's corner of his land got flooded all the way out to the center line of Durbin Road got flooded. So I'm thankful that they have gotten out there and did have a quick response to it. But the changes that are happening and what's going on, public notice needs to happen extremely bad so that we have a say in what's going on, or have a say in these proposals and such as that. So I thank y'all for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, Wilbur.
Thank you for the opportunity once again to speak to this council. Some of you are newly elected, and I've talked with over the phone that I think last time nobody was sure who was covering our area. And after looking at the districts, I understand that my property goes to the crossroad of 101 and Green Pond Road. And the majority of that is in District 2. I do have property in district. I think yours is 4, right? 5, a property in District 5. And in having a conversation with you all, I believe it's been for the last 2 years, but I'd have to go back and look at the dates, but nothing has been accomplished with the dirt bike track that's over there next to my property. And you that are on this council heard my problems before, but now I have a petition signed from property owners all the way around. I just got started. We're going to get even more because due diligence wasn't done when it was open. If you recall, about 1.5 years ago, our conversation was, it's just a practice track. It's just a practice track. Well, that practice track's running every day. And now we're saying you can't address it because it's a business. Nothing we can do about it because it's a business. I've called our dear sheriff 3 times and he's yet to return my call. We'll look at that in a different manner the next round. But I think we're all, I'm a pastor. I work 24/7. They say I only work 2 days a week, so I got plenty of time to go around and talk to neighbors. And I'll be doing that because the noise ordinance, and I have been reading not only Lawrence County, but the state noise ordinance. The first time I spoke to you all, nobody could tell me what the ordinance said. So this time, I'm going to approach it a little bit different because it's now being told to me and to the folks that complain that when one of the law officers come out, they're kind of rude to us. And I've been there over 40 years. I deserve to be able to live in peace and harmony. I got a farm, I got cows. You know, I don't plan on moving. Somebody else will move before I move. But, you know, all I ask is to be able to enjoy family. I got 3 kids, 9 grandkids. They like to come to the house and we like to cook out, as many of you do. And I'm not talking about all of this to create a zoning law. If that's the underlying motive, I'd love to see us, you know, make sure our ordinances are looked after what we have now. Lord knows we wouldn't get nothing done if we had a zoning. You know, I'm for whatever lives in peace and harmony, but the noise, we've put a decibel meter in the state. I believe in Richland County, it's 62 decibels. We have put instruments out there and it broke those. And if we look at the state, it's noise ordinance section 18-3. And it also says in our county that you can have loudspeakers. Sunday morning, 7:30, they got loudspeakers going wide open. And I don't believe anybody would like that if it was next door to our house. And that's what's going on. I have a sister-in-law that lives closer than I do on my property. She does dialysis 3 times a week, gets up about 4 or 5 o'clock. And the other Sunday after they had a big race, opened it up at 7:30. Not only did she have a heart attack on Monday, but also a neighbor that was across the way had a heart attack on Monday. Now I believe it does say something about, you know, the health and the endangerment of others. But just looking at it, we've had to complain about stuff starting at 9 o'clock at night. They're running a water truck. Don't know if you know this, but in the middle of the night, pumping water out of the creek. I did look up some of the ordinances there for the state law. Also, I've got pictures showing where they have run a pipe through excavation and they got a big water pipe about this big. My daughter over here has it on her phone now, if you'd like to see it. And it's running out on my property and dumping in my pond. Well, I know they're breaking the law there. I ain't got to guess. But we've had nobody, I asked Bobo, I believe the last time that he was here, he come out and said, there's nothing I can do, ain't nothing wrong. My question is, did they ever get any permits to move dirt to start with? It was purchased by Barry Woods. Barry Woods still owns a mortgage to it. They're paying on it now. Was it bought for farmland? I believe I was in one meeting here. We had somebody from Clemson. They was talking about preserving all of our farmland. But yet we'll let them build anywhere. They're throwing up houses that you can spit out the window and hit somebody else. Don't even have nobody putting up signs saying that they're coming in to do this. They build a race car track. And if you'll recall, I can tell you the lawyer's name. Back when they shut down Curry Lake Road, Danny Hurley was the owner. They brought a lawsuit because the first time council closed it, and then they let them open it back up. Not talking about any of you folks, because I don't know who was on the council, who what. But if we don't start looking out and being proactive, as I mentioned last time, instead of reactive to things, then good neighbors are going to be hurt. I believe in being a good neighbor. My wife tells me I can be a bad one, and she normally preaches to me, and I'm the preacher in the family. But there's no sense in not respecting your neighbor. And you fellas and you ladies have the obligation to look out after us. If we voted in a zoning law, you'd have a bigger responsibility to look out after us. I don't plan on moving from Lawrence County. I've been here over 40 years. I think it's the best county in the state of South Carolina, still, with all of our problems. But we've got to do something about this. The folks that are coming in there, I've got a lot of friends that are coming in from Greenville County. They don't pay one dime of taxes in Lawrence County. I've been paying taxes for over 40 years in Lawrence County, but yet I ain't being heard. I've called Mr. Carroll. I've called Mr. Rankin since he's been on there. He's new, he's just learning. Maybe some of y'all can show him the ropes. But anyways, we need to do something about some of this. And the water runoff, the two-stroke oil runoff, the pipes that are blowing oil and running down into the creek. I haven't talked to some of our farmers yet, but I'm sure that they'd be concerned, Mr. Willis and some of these, Mr. Yance, as you know, I believe they'd be concerned about what's going into the creek since their cows are drinking out of that same creek. I think it's time that we do something about that. And as far as the water, if you look it up in section 49 in the state, -4 through 25, you'll read all about it because I've been reading it all day long. And here's the thing, I spoke the first time to you, I spoke the second time to you. Now I'm speaking the third time, 3 strikes you out. I'm not coming back to speak on the same issue without, I've tried to handle it diplomatically. So from this point, I'm going to handle it a different way. If you folks don't help us get some control out there, we've got a great area. And there's no sense in seeing good things go to bad. They'll be out there, they'll pack it full. There's campers been sitting up there. They're pumping out the septic out of there. Don't know where that's hitting. I hadn't been over there trespassing. But all I can tell you is nobody is being held accountable for their actions. We called the sheriff and he lives right down the road. I've been going to go down and see him. But it's time that our sheriff take action. A lot of stuff gets blamed on you folks. I don't know if you know that or not. I'm sure you do. I pastor, everything gets blamed on me. But it comes back to your door. And frankly, the sheriff, those law officers that come out there just saying what they're told. They're saying, it's grandfathered in. They ain't but one track in this county grandfathered in. And, Mr. Hurley runs it now. That's right down here at Lawrence County Speedway. These others ain't grandfathered in. If you shut down Perry Lake Road, this one can be shut down. Not grandfathered in. I've already had a lawyer to look into it. And he's already told me it's not grandfathered in. So we need to do something. I hope that you'll consider my conversation. I'm not blasting you, I promise you. I'm just being truthful with you. When I get woke up at night and I get bothered at night, neighbors call me because they know I can talk. I preach for a living, I'm the one that's going to get up here. A lot of other folks have that same thing. When I went around with this petition, they said, sure, let me sign it. Sure, let me sign. Not one person did I go to, and I've been all around the track that I've went to yet that didn't want to sign this petition. I hadn't went on the computer yet and got the word out, but I'm going to. We're going to get as many signatures as we can, and then we'll go from there unless something's done about their actions. I ask you to help us. This gentleman here, I haven't approached him because I don't want anything to go bad that owns it, but I got his cell number. He owns a track in Travelers Rest. A lot of them ain't pleased. They tell me he's got a track in Easley, but I do know that this track is not welcome in our community because it's farmers and residents that live all the way around it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, next we'll move to county council comments. I'll start on my right, Ms. Clark.
I just want to thank everyone for coming out this evening and thank the ones that put up with question concern. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
That's right.
Thank you. I just want to wish all the mothers out there happy ladies Mother's Day. I wouldn't certainly be where I am today without my mother. So I do want to address the comments, Mr. Wilkerson. We've been on the phone, we talked about it several different times. I take what I hear from my constituents very seriously. I do look into it and explore all the available resources to me to make sure that what that track is doing is in accordance with our ordinance. I've had our sheriff even go out there to the site, and from the feedback I've received from him, and he knows the noise ordinance better than probably anybody in this county. But he has told me that they are acting within the noise ordinance, and as far as
Has he got a meter? I've asked that question before. Nobody has a meter to put on it, so how can he tell?
when I was told that they are in accordance with the ordinance, so I don't know.
That's a judgment call.
Well, that is what I was told, but the situation with Curry Lake Road, from what I understand, that was more the citizens that, were in protest of it, was the reason that they shut down. The county council didn't actually vote to shut them down. And we don't have that right to do that even in this situation if we wanted to. And I know that's not the news that you guys would want to hear, but that is fortunately the fact of the situation. And it's tough. I mean, it is tough. I do understand the frustration you guys have out there for sure. But I do believe in personal property rights, and with the ordinance that we have in the books and what we have established so far. Now we're looking into maybe changing some of that, and if that happens, then some of these situations might not arise in the future. But with what we have right now, they are allowed to do what they're doing, and people might not like it, but that's what we have.
I also contacted our senator.
We're not, I appreciate your comment, but we're not gonna have deliberation between council and the audience this evening. Do you have anything else?
That's all I got.
All right. Mr. Trevor. Mr. Giannis.
I would just like to address the American Rescue Plan funds that we gave out on last Tuesday. I know we only had so much to give, And I thought it was really admirable of the council to want to share the money and the fund that we had with the community. And I know we did not give everybody exactly what they wanted to have, but we used all that we did have. And I'm hoping that it be used appropriately and that we just wasn't able to satisfy everybody. But I'm hoping that through some form of fashion and the way that we operate as a council, that we have been able to address the majority of things that was listed there, and hoping that in the future with the remainder that we do have, that we'll be able to address some of the issues to help make the quality of life better for the citizens of this county. I know I didn't agree with what all the other council members did, but I know that all of us have to learn how to negotiate, learn how to live together and work together and come to some kind of consensus that we can agree on. And I'm happy to say that the majority of things that we did address was done in an honorable and a mannerable way. And I'm hoping that all the people who receive funds use those funds appropriately. Also, make sure that you pass the word that the county appropriated it and try to make sure that we were meeting some of the needs of the citizens of this county. So I just wanted to just say something about those things that we did on last week. I know the people who were receiving the funds, they were here, but we have a few people who were not here during the time we had done deliberations.
Mr. Carey.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm familiar with the concerns that you brought up tonight, that we talked about. And I don't want you to think that they fall on deaf ears, because they haven't. And every time people talk, I take bullet points, and you've given me some great things to do that are actionable. Like, some things are subjective, like you said, someone's coming out making a judgment call or something, but some of these things seem real and actionable, and I've had no issue pursuing those. We have, much like Mr. Rankin said, I have followed up with who I thought could help, and when they went to the location, they found nothing actionable, or they didn't take action. That's what I can say for that. Doesn't mean that I don't support 100% everybody who's spoken tonight. I made comments. The posting of signs to let you know what's coming. I don't know exactly how we do that. I don't know when we do that. Do we do it when someone comes up with an idea of a project? Do we do it when they go to get a permit? I don't know. We can figure that out, but that's not unreasonable in a community that is seeing a tremendous amount of growth and has concerns about what's coming. We will look at what you brought tonight, and I'll pursue it again, Mr. Wilkinson, specifically to you. Those are things that I think we can look into, and we'll do exactly what we can. I know you kind of referenced the zoning and how maybe that wouldn't be an answer or anything, but if you've been watching meetings for the past month or two, we've talked about a zoning option in Lawrence County, what it would look like. We have a planner hired, and we're looking at options for things to prevent issues in the future. But you're right, when you do that, you just give yourself more work, more things you have to be in charge of, and more things you're responsible for, making sure they go the right way. But didn't fall on deaf ears, and I apologize if you haven't got the result that you wanted. But I'm concerned anytime, regardless of the district, I think part of that district is 2 and 1, where that track is. I don't think it has any. It's two. But I went out there and I talked to you, and I've been there. If anybody in any district has an issue with calls me, I'll respond to it. Can't always solve the problem, but I appreciate your willingness to work with us. We'll do what we can.
I don't have much tonight, just a reminder for those that may or may not know, planning commission next Tuesday. I mean, here. I think, yeah. So 5:30 next Tuesday, right here, they're actually having a training session for those of y'all that have been coming and going the past little bit. If y'all want to attend that, I recommend it, as well as the next council meeting. the subdivision ordinance will be on the agenda for deliberation. I also recommend you come for that as well. Y'all been thoroughly engaged, and we appreciate that, and look for that continued engagement and input as we process through that ordinance. That's all I have. Nothing else. All for motion to adjourn.
Let's do terms, Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Rankin, second by Mr. Clark. All those in favor, please raise your right hand.
It's not good.